When I think about what I was taught in school, I was taught how a flower reproduces, the sexual components of a flower. I didn't know you had to pay for water until I was about 10. You filled my head full of shit instead of teaching us stuff that is actually going to help us be like a responsible adult. I blame my financial recklessness on the government.
Welcome to this week's Just Another Group Chat. Thank you for joining us. Today we have some lovely guests. We have the lovely Hannah.
Hi.
And we have the lovely Dons.
Hi.
Donna, also known as Mum. Thanks for joining us. Today we're talking about how to manage your money. So, I just wanted to make a point first of all, right? How ridiculous is it that we're not taught about this in school?
Well, I was just, talking about this.
Let's get straight in there.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. How silly is it that they don't teach you what tax and VAT is at school?
Yeah, it's outrageous, really.
Isn't that stupid?
Yes, it's failing every person that comes out of
Absolutely
school,
stupid.
no matter how many GCSEs or A-levels you've got, unless you can manage your life, which revolves around money, then
You're done in. You're absolutely done in.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mental. I can't fathom the fact that I could ask a 13-year-old what VAT is, or tax, even tax, and they might not have any clue what I'm talking about.
Kim, you could ask me that and I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. And I'm 33.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
It's mental.
Like, when I think about what I was taught in school, I was taught, like, how a flower reproduces, the sexual components of a flower. Like, couldn't give a shit, mate. Tell us how.
so true.
I didn't know you had to pay for water until I was about 10. I was like, do you know what I mean? It's that stuff where you just think, you filled my head full of shit instead of teaching us stuff that is actually going to help us be like a responsible adult in my life. So to be honest,
simultaneous equations
I blame my financial recklessness on the government.
on the government. I mean, we can blame a lot of financial recklessness on the government, can't we? That's a whole new podcast. Yeah, all right. So how do you manage your money?
I don't.
You don't?
I'm terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I am terrible at managing money. I have lived from paycheck to paycheck since I was 17 years old.
Have you?
Yeah.
Dons?
yeah, not bad. I think I manage it quite well.
Yeah. But how?
How?
Oh, more at the point. Like, if you do and you don't, why?
Habits, I think.
So is it something that you've learned to do? Have you always been good at managing your money?
Yes, pretty much.
From a young age?
Well, when I was 23, I was
Three
by
children.
myself with 3 small children, so I
had
kind of
to.
had to learn.
So that's probably why. Because I think at 23, you had 3 kids all under one.
Yeah.
Well, what, under one then?
Yes.
Yeah. So you didn't have a choice. You had mouths to feed and other things and other bits and bobs and responsibility, like, of humans. So I think it's like, when there's 3 of them, it must shock you into going all of a sudden, right? Especially if you're by yourself.
Well, yeah, I had to learn, and I had
So your
to learn
entire
how
income had to then be spread out between
4 of years, essentially.
clothes and food and kids are pricey.
Yeah, they are expensive. Yeah. And I had to learn how to cook because it was cheaper to cook than it was to buy ready-made food.
So in terms of, if I say you're good at managing your money and you say yeah, what does that mean to you?
It means being able to pay for the essentials, being able to save a little bit. Yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah.
Just being able to save a little bit and pay for what I need.
Yeah. And what is there any particular reason why you think you're not so good with managing money?
I think probably a mixture of I didn't have the same responsibilities as you, Donna, when I was 23. I think I was living with an ex at that time. But I was working in a call centre at like 19. And like at that time, call centre, call
centre money was like
is a mint for a 19-year-old.
Oh yeah,
when all my mates were at uni, like scrimping and scraping, eating noodles for breakfast.
Yeah.
I was out buying like 100 quid shoes in Flip Top Shop and that.
Yeah.
And like I was living my best life,
Yeah.
and I kind of haven't stopped.
You got used to a certain lifestyle.
Because I still think I'm 19. That
Yeah.
I'm like, but you know, reality kicks in, and I mean, it's been different for me because when I've moved out, I'm very lucky that my parents have never charged us board. It's something I've offered umpteen times, and they've said they'll never charge us to live at home. Which I'm very thankful for. But when I've moved out in the past, like I've moved out 3 times, moved out, been back, moved out, been back. But 2 times I was living with someone.
Yeah.
And so it was easier because everything's split in half.
Yeah.
And bills split in half. And also something else that I don't want to go too much down sort of the patriarchy route. But
She said it.
I have never been in a relationship where I've earned more money than my partner.
Yeah.
So they took care of more things because they could afford to.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, I would do that because I don't. I just think if I've got it, I'll give you. I'd give you me last. You know what I mean? That's just how I've been brought up. So, but now, I mean, I said living paycheck to paycheck. I don't. I cover all my bills. I never miss a bill.
Yeah.
I've always got petrol in my car.
You just don't deny yourself of those nice luxuries now and then that
if
like
I've
make
got
you feel good.
Bit of extra money burning a hole in my pocket, I'll spend it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I think I don't have any kids. I don't have a mortgage. My rent is more than manageable. Like, fuck it. If I want to go out and get lashed, I will.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think I'm quite good with money, but I was a bit like you. When I was 19, I've never had more money in my life than when I was 19. So if you think about it, you're making a full-time wage.
Yeah.
You're living at home and you don't have like mouths to feed as such, which is expensive. I just remember having more money than I could possibly even ever imagine. I remember when I was younger, I might have told this story on the podcast before, but I'll tell it again. When I was younger, I was kind of given the value of money at a young age because I was brought up in a house where all 3 of us shared a bedroom. I mean, if you stood up and put your arms out, you could touch both sides of the kitchen walls. Like, it was this tiny, lovely, gorgeous house that I've got really fond memories of. And then we moved, and I think as my mum started to do better in work and in earning money, we moved to a big house, and it was like my friends would say, "Oh, you've got a mansion," and I was buzzing with it. I was like, "I've got a mansion," and it was a nice big. I think it was a 4-bedroom house at the time, and then we extended it, so it was a bit bigger. Yeah. So we did kind of I started to, my mum was able to then pay for school holidays for us and would go skiing and would do trips and all the rest of it. So I think at a young age, I was about 13 or 14. I'd asked, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? I'd asked, we'd went out shopping and it was the time, do you remember Kickers? The big,
yeah.
Like they're probably going to come back in soon. But it was like the 90s, it was Kickers were like the shoe, and the higher the better. Mm-hmm. Back in the day at school, the higher the better. I mean, Mum said to us, when we went school shopping, she said, Kim, I'm telling you, pumps are going to be the new thing. And I was like, no, they're not. I want me Kickers. I just want Kickers. She was like, I'm telling you now, everyone's going to be wearing pumps. Before you know it, they'll be all wearing pumps. I said, no, I want me Kickers. And she said, right, but I mean, you're not getting another pair of shoes. These are 90 quid. I remember you saying they were £90. And I was like, no, I want them. So I got them, walked in the first day of school, and I was like, oh my God. Not a pair of Kickers in sight. I was devastated. And I went home and I was like, Mum, I need some pumps. Like, now, today. I cannot go back into school with me Kickers. And she said, all right. She said, but I told you couldn't get any more. So if you want to come and work in the kitchen, where she had a business, come work in the kitchen making sandwiches on a Saturday and I'll pay you a wage. And I was like, what are you on about? What do you mean you'll pay us? She said, well, I told you, you're going to have to earn that money now. I said, I only need £60. So she can earn it then. Mm-hmm. So I think I did 4 weeks. She made us do 4 weeks and I got £60. And I was doing like almost a half a day in the kitchen. I was on a good wage, really. No. And I remember saying, right, okay. And she gave us me £60. And then she looked at us. And this whole time I was like, I'm going to get me pumps. And she looked at us and went, what are you going to spend it on then? And I looked at the money and I was like, oh, she's good, isn't she? Because I absolutely was not about to buy pumps with the hard-earned cash that I've just made. So that was it. I was like, oh, that was a lesson right there. So yeah, I think from then I was a bit like, are you getting teary?
No.
She is. You think softy. Yeah, and I think for me, I remember thinking, this is really worth all that hard work.
Yeah.
What am I going to spend it on? I don't know, but I want to keep working because I like it and I like earning money and I like getting that feeling. So I did, now and then I did small shifts and bits and bobs. And from then, if I wanted stuff that was like 2 pairs of school shoes or whatever it might be, my mum was like, no, you buy it yourself. And I just think I learned from there. So by the time I was 19, because I'd worked from being 17, I'd worked 2 years. Again, more money in my life, more money than I've ever had in my life. I'd saved because my goal was always to be able to buy a car. So I put a really nice deposit down on a car by the time I was 19. And that, again, that sense of achievement was like, oh, repeat, continue and repeat. So I think that those are the things that made me kind of, I guess, better with money now. And also, sorry,
I think once you enjoy what you've saved for, then that makes you want to do it again without a doubt. And I think if you can, that becomes a habit. Like I said before, if you enjoy it, if you have an end goal and then you meet that goal, it's like, I can do that again.
So, funnily, credit rating. Credit rating is a thing that we all need. It's something that is vital for mortgages and being able to, because nobody saves 100 grand to be able to buy a house outright. We need a mortgage. At some point we need to lend. At some point we need to borrow. So to be able to borrow, we have to have a good credit rating. To get a good credit rating, you have to borrow. Hang on.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Mental. Because I remember, again, being in about 25, and I was like, people kept saying, do you want a credit card? And I was like, no, I don't want one. Because I had this mentality, if I don't have the money there, I cannot have it. And that was just the way I always worked. If the money's not in the bank, I cannot have it. So, and it's just literally how if to the point where if the money wasn't in the bank, I wouldn't go on a night out. Like, I'd be like, nah, I can't, I've got no money. And the occasional time I'd be like, Mum, lend us a tenner. Because you could go out for a tenner.
Yeah.
And come home with change.
Yeah.
After your cheesy chips. You could.
It's true.
Sometimes I came back with more than I went out with.
Oh, a couple of times I've done that. Class.
The mint doesn't happen
How
like that
does
now.
that happen?
I think
sometimes you get bought drinks. Sometimes your mate goes, hey, you go to the bar and get us this, and then you pocket the change.
so that's happened with me, but it's normally lads that go, oh, go and get us the drinks and give you 20 quid.
Yeah.
And then you bring the drinks back and they just never ask for the money back.
Yeah. And you never
and you don't. And then you don't really think about it. It's not that you're just purposefully keeping it. You just the next day like, oh shit.
Yeah. End up with loads of pound coins.
Yeah. Let's carry on. So yeah. I just was of that mindset, I think, from a young age that if I didn't have it, I don't know where my story was going.
See, I'm all about like life's too short.
Yeah.
So when I was, this is a story. When I was 23, I was in a really very toxic relationship, and it broke down and all hell broke loose and ensued and what have you. Cue, slight nervous breakdown, blah, blah, blah. My first one of many. Moved back home. And then I was like, right, I had a little bit of debt because I took out a loan to get us the flat in the first place or something. Anyway, it was starting to accumulate. So I kind of went into overdrive a little bit. I got a PT. I started to lose a lot of weight because I put a lot of weight on, etc., etc. And then I was looking to consolidate the couple of little bits that I had. So I went to an appointment at the bank one day. I should never have gone in. And I came out with a 15 grand loan.
Whoa. How old were you?
I was 23.
Bloody Nova.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get that now.
I mean, it was I would say I spunked it up the wall, but I didn't. I did loads of mint things.
Did you?
I went to Australia to see my friends for 3 weeks. I bought a new car.
Yeah.
I bought a laptop. I got braces.
Mint.
I had my teeth whitened. I did loads of class shit.
Yeah.
Plot twist, my car got stolen about 2 years after.
No.
Which I can laugh about now, but at the time it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But at the time I was living at home. I was still on the really good call centre wage and everything.
Yeah.
Then I got made redundant.
So you have this
all of
15
a sudden,
grand loan and then no job.
I had 15 grand of a £300 a month payment, which, you know, I could have easily paid off had I still had that job.
Yeah.
In a couple of years or whatever. And I had the bank ringing every day, four or five times a day.
That's horrible, that.
It was horrendous. Like, just, why haven't you paid? Because I got no money. And in the end, I started to get cheeky and I was like, look, I'll ring you. As soon as I win the lottery, I'll give you a bell and then I'll be able to pay it off. But you're wasting my time and you're wasting your own time because I haven't got any money. I have no money to give you. It's out of my hands. This is not something that I can do anything about at the minute. Oh, it was like I was losing sleep over it. It was really stressful.
But that's the kind of thing that really gets people down.
Oh,
really
massively. Like seriously.
Bully boy tactics as well.
Oh, horrendous. I was blocking them in the end. I was like, you can fuck off because it's not like you're hard up. It's not like I borrowed it off somebody. Do you know what I mean? And they're suddenly on the bones of their arse like, you're fine.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting in touch with I went to uni after that. So I went and did an access course because I did spunk up my A-levels up the wall. And then did an access course and I was working 2 jobs at the time.
Yeah.
But it still was nowhere near enough to make the thing. And I went to a charity called Step Change. This was about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And they put us on a debt management plan.
Did they?
Yeah. So they got in touch with that. I had a credit card, a loan and an overdraft, something like that. Consolidated all up, spoke the bank, sorted it all out for us. Right, let's have a look at your bills, what you got, what's your monthly payment. And I've paid it every month ever since.
Yeah.
Without missing one payment.
Yeah.
So now, interestingly, at that time when it all kicked off, my credit rating might as well have been in the minus. Now, it's like the highest it can be.
Yeah.
It's the best it can be.
Yeah.
Because you've paid off debt.
Because I've never missed a payment since.
So this is probably, I don't know. I had to get a credit card. I've never had a credit card till about 2 years ago. And then I had to get one because my credit rating was going down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I've never had any debt.
Yeah.
I mean, I say I've never had any debt. I'd had finances on cars and things like that. But I'd never had a loan. I'd never had a loan. So because I'd never had a credit card or a loan, my credit rating was then going down.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
So I then had to get a credit card, put a load of stuff on it, and then pay it all off just for the crack.
Yeah.
So it's just mental.
Just to show that you can be responsible with your money.
I am a responsible adult that can pay things back.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of people, or there's a great theory about just living on a credit card. So you literally, you don't spend any money at all. You just purchase everything on your credit card and then you pay it off at the end of the month because all your purchases are more protected. You've got your money in the bank for that period and as long as you can pay it off at the end, apparently it's meant to be a great way.
Well, it's great because you get, especially things like, and then we're not sponsored by any bank, but there are banks out there, I'm not going to mention them actually, there are banks out there that give you like air miles.
Yeah, there is.
And they give you absolutely all sorts of things back for spending money with them.
But you've got to be really disciplined and be able to spend
otherwise,
to pay that off. Otherwise
you've got to be like an admin assistant for yourself.
Yeah.
No, you do.
Like an accountant.
I mean, I'd need a spreadsheet. I don't know about you guys, but I love a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a Monzo girl now.
So I love Monzo as well. Love Monzo.
It's the best. Shout
Not
out.
sponsored by Monzo.
But if you want to sponsor us, please do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how credit works and how, like you say, you had that loan and then now your credit rating's great because you've paid it off.
Yeah.
And that's like mental. Yeah. So, again, things that we have to pay for that we don't get taught in school. Water.
More.
Things like a wedding, if you do get married, cars, phones, homes, houses, mortgages. How does mortgage work? Holidays and children. Like there's a lot of things. Dogs.
Expensive.
From my point of view, I'm still shocked at this because and you still have heard us say it a million times, from the day I got pregnant to having her, to having a health visitor, to having all the support in the world, emotionally, everything else, nobody, not one person mentioned money.
Yeah.
Not one person mentions money through that whole journey of bringing a child into the world. Nobody says, can you afford this? Are you going to struggle? Do you need some help? Can you afford nursery? Do you know how much nursery is? When do you need to go back to work to be able to pay your bills? How much maternity are you getting?
Yeah.
Nobody has that conversation with you. And so before I got pregnant, I thought I'd worked it all out because I was trying to be, what have you. And I thought I'd worked it all out. And I was like, right, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other. I'm going to have childcare here, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. And then things didn't quite work out like that. So I needed more nursery days than I thought I would ever need. So I hadn't really done that much research on the nursery fees because I didn't think I would need it. And then now I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Essentially, there are some people that have to leave their job, physically leave their job, to be able to look after their child until they get their 33 hours in the United Kingdom or whatever it is, to be able to go back to work. You literally get financially trapped because some people actually actually costs them money to send their kids to nursery. It's mental. So there's a few things like this that I think I was a bit like, wow, does nobody explain this to you? So anybody who's pregnant or going to have kids, speak to your midwife and ask them, talk to them about it, because that should be included.
It should be.
It should be included in that care. It's basic care. Can you afford this child?
I think it should be from when you go for a 12-week scan.
Yeah.
If I'm totally honest.
It should. It should.
I think that needs to be...
It's vital. It's vital because clothes, milk, all the stuff costs money.
And
nappies.
If you can't afford those things, suddenly it's not just you potentially in poverty, it's your child as well. How do you look after and feed a child well and look after them well and keep them warm if you cannot even afford to do that for yourself? It's something that I would really consider if I ever decided to have children would be where I'm at financially.
Yeah.
You still can't prepare fully.
No, you can't.
But I'd want to be comfortable. In that I'd be like, right, okay.
But I think for me, I was a bit like, right, I'm financially okay for this. And then the surprises along the way, I was like, why has nobody had this conversation with me? Why has nobody asked or talked to me about this? Because there are surprises that you're not aware of that you think, wow, I didn't know I have to pay for that. I didn't know I was going to have to do that. I didn't know it was going to be that much money. Like, it is like, wow, it's a lot. There's one point I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what pisses me off on behalf of my parent friends?
What?
That holidays go up in the 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. So you still...
Like price of holidays go up in the 6 weeks.
So you still have to pay for your nursery fees during the 6 weeks holidays. You still have to pay for, you still have to pay for them.
I don't understand that. And I don't get it when like one of you is like, oh, the nursery's rang. My child's poorly or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if they've got a little sniffle, but they're all right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just keep them.
To be honest, you're paying them to look after them.
I think they used to do that before COVID, but I wouldn't know.
Oh, right, yeah, fair enough.
Since COVID, it's literally anything and they just ring you.
Changed, hasn't it?
I think I've got nothing but amazing things to say about my nursery.
Yeah.
They've been fantastic. And Addie absolutely loves it there.
Yeah.
So, but it is
holiday
extortionate
thing,
and it's ridiculous.
I think it's just ridiculous because if you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you take the kids out of school, one, they're missing their education, talking about the sexual reproduction of plants. Instead of like going and exploring the world with their families, which, is really culturally enriching.
It makes you want to homeschool, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
That's a massive, it's a whole new thing, but
Have you seen those like beach
idea.
schools and forest schools?
Yeah.
My friend's little girl goes to beach school.
It's amazing.
So cool.
I know a girl whose child goes to farm school.
Wow.
And they're brought up on a farm.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just mint.
it's like amazing. Have you ever heard of 50-30-20?
No.
So neither had I until I started researching for today's podcast. But apparently it's a really big thing and a really big tool to help people manage their money. It's basically a budgeting method, and it helps you manage everything like simply. So what it does is, it's a basic rule of thumb. You divide your monthly income after tax, split it into 3 categories: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings, or paying off debt.
But what if you need
Exactly. In 90%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we can talk about saving all we like, but saving is a privilege.
Well,
Yeah.
And it's a thing that
It is.
It's not a lifestyle choice that everyone has the option to choose.
For me, this rule means that 50% of your income is for your needs, and the rest's just to do what you want with it.
Yeah.
Hang the hell on. And I like it how they've got 30% for wants. Is food a want?
As in, I want it.
I want a jacket potato.
Yeah.
No, that's a need. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's just, I found that equally fascinating and also ridiculous at the same time, because some people, it would be interesting though to do it, I think, to look at your finances and say what percentage is wants, needs, and savings or debt. I think it's interesting to be able to know what your percentages are.
Yeah.
I've certainly thought about it. I think I'm going to definitely look at what my wants, needs, and savings or debt are.
Yeah.
Relationships and money. What's your thoughts on this? Because there's different views, and I've been slightly tortured for my view on this, so it might be controversial. You're in a relationship, you move in with someone or whatever it might be. What do you do with your money? So you've said there, did you used to have joint accounts, or did you used to split everything?
I had a joint account with the first one.
And did you put all of your money in the same joint account?
Yeah, we did.
So you only had one account each, and all of your income went into that joint account?
I had a personal account that I used to get paid into. I mean, it was a long time ago now, and then I'm sure we had like a bills account.
Yeah.
So half the rent, half the bills, etc. And then we had a bit left over. But he got paid more than me. I think he was scrolling away anyway.
Yeah.
I was a twat.
So I've always been like this. I don't know where it's come from, but I have always been adamant that I keep my own bank account, and that my wage and my earnings goes into my bank account, and that we have a separate, they have their own bank account, I have my own bank account, and we agree what goes in the joint for bills, for whatever, based on who earns more, whatever it might be. That split goes in the joint, and all of the household things and the needs come out of that joint account. That's the way I've always worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of reasons, and it's not for what people think. I don't squirrel, but I do like to save. And you can't do that if all of your money goes into somebody else's account and they spend some money that you don't know that's getting spent. So it's just a surprise, a bit of a control thing for me. But also, how do you do anything nice for someone?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
How do you take someone for a meal?
Yeah.
How do you
that's
go to the
hard.
cinema? How do you pay for a holiday? How do you get them a birthday present? How do you do those things without them seeing it coming out the bank?
Yeah.
That's a
it's
genuine question
very
I've got.
It's difficult, you can't.
For people who have only joint accounts. From my point of view, if I am buying a gift for somebody or something like that, or if I'm doing a birthday present or whatever it might be, or even like I've took Stephen on holiday and stuff, I don't want to know how much money I've spent. It takes it all away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, I just think that's a big part of a relationship that for me is a big enough reason to say, no, I want my own account to be able to do nice things that I can say, I have done this as a nice gesture, instead of it like, I don't know, what do you do when you go for a meal if you've got one account? Do you say thanks?
I'll pay. No, I'll pay. No, I'll pay. Go
Say
on.
thanks. Thanks to me and you. Yay. I don't know. Some people might like that, but for me, I just feel like it's one of them things.
Being independent is huge.
That's what it is for me, I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a joint account again.
Would you not?
No, I didn't with my last partner that I lived with, but it was his house and stuff. Like I just moved in, so I used to just transfer him a bulk for like mortgage, bills and all that sort of stuff. But I would never
do it again.
Living financially completely independent of myself, running a household by myself, paying for all my own shit. I don't think I would ever have a joint account again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hugely important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really... Anyway, that's a tip for you.
Yeah.
If you go home, say to your partner, I'm going to change all the bank accounts. We're going to cause
I'm not leaving you.
We're going to cause divorces, are you, aren't we?
I'm just going to...
You can give each other as much transparency of each account as you want. Then it's not about hiding things. It's not about squirreling them away. It's just about having that independence.
I think ultimately as well, like, we all sell our time. Like, that's what a job is. You sell your time to a company along with any skills that, you know, will contribute towards the business and stuff. And without getting too sort of philosophical about it, you only have one life and time's ticking. So what you're essentially doing is selling the most important thing that you have. So why don't you get to decide how you spend it? You know, however you want to do it. If you want to save, if you want to flip and buy loads of things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just make sure you were doing what you want to do. I mean, there needs to be responsibility there as well. Make sure your bills are paid. Make sure there's food on the table. Your bairns are clothed, etc.
But do you not think about the future?
No.
Because to me, unless you save or you've got something, then the responsibility for your future then is someone else's.
How?
Because how can you, if you've got no savings?
What you saving for?
Well, I'm talking about long-term saving. I'm not talking about next year or the year after or the year after.
But even long-term, what?
But like retirement.
I mean, if I last that long, Donna, would be
retirement. How do you then look after yourself if?
I don't know. I guess I don't really think about it because I'm in my early 30s. Yeah, so I just
don't think about
about
it, but it happens, and that time comes. And if you've got a little bit of savings or you've got something, then that helps.
But the government doesn't help. The government doesn't help with this because I remember being in the care home and understanding that if you had over a certain amount of money or assets like a house, you had to, and you needed to go into care, you had to sell all of that to be able to pay for it. So say you've got a house worth 150 grand, the house is then sold and that money goes to paying for your care.
It goes to paying for everyone else's who can't pay for their own as well.
And it goes to go. And then the other thing is, and this was like, wow, if you didn't have a house or assets or any money, the government paid for everything.
Sorted.
So
I'm joking.
But yeah, so I think you probably see it from that because we've been on that other end of the spectrum where you see people lose everything that they've ever worked for,
which is awful,
which is horrendous.
It's horrific.
Or if you've never saved or never bought a house or never got any assets in that sense, then the government will pay for everything. So it is like it feels a bit like wrong.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is wrong especially when you work so hard and like you're saying. And then, you know, you're starting to need that little bit of help. And it's like, all right, so we'll just sweep all that, probably flipping pocket off of it because it's government or a pile of shite. And then, crack on, live your rest of your days out.
I've become, the more older I've got, instead of saving, I want to invest in something, in some way, shape or form. Because I don't feel like savings are very fun. Or
the interest rates are shite.
Yeah, absolutely crap.
Unless you've got a good chunk of money in.
There's no problem.
And I think there's nothing really rewarding about saving at this age. Like you say, if you're 50, you might be saving for your retirement or a pension or whatever it might be. But at 30, you do think, I'm just going to blow it all. I'm going to go on holiday, or I'm going to upgrade my car, or whatever it might be. There's so much temptation, especially with the world now the way it is, like to just go, and I'm just going to spend it. Yeah. So for me, if you are somebody who likes to spend, invest, become someone who can save and then spend on something that is an investment. So it's still like spending, but it's a clever way of spending.
Yeah.
So you're investing in something that is the future, that is going to be a bit more secure for you in the long run. I've got kids, so now one child, just the one. So for me, that's when I started thinking about, I don't want to save, I want to invest, because I need to think about her future and how she's going to grow up, and we don't know because the government's a bloody nightmare. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I save purely so that when I put my clogs, my family have got something, so that they see the benefit of like what I've worked for in my life.
We don't want that.
The benefit of your passing.
Well, no, but if we all put our
It's a
clogs
strange
at some
thing.
point.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
So when
but we don't want that. Spend it.
well, you might not, but there's a few others.
There is a few others. There's a canny few others who probably will be fine with that.
And then the grandchildren as well, I think, because I was brought up on a council estate and everyone that I knew lived hand to mouth.
Yeah.
Literally, these are the people who maybe wanted to save but couldn't save. And it was a very happy time. It was lovely. But then, and with that and the experience of looking after older people and seeing the difference between those who had no money and those who had some money in their life, how they lived and their health and everything was just huge. And for me, I just wanted to be able to buy a house, buy my own house, and then have a little bit of something when I'm gone to say my kids can get a start. It's because that start in life, it's massively important.
So here's a tip for you then. If your parents get to about 60, try and persuade them, I'm not even joking, try and persuade them to put their house in your name. Transfer the ownership of the house in your name. Because, as Hannah, for example, if we give, I don't know, if one of your parents gets to 70 and they need to go into care for whatever reason, and the house has been in your name for 10 years, the government will pay for everything. But, if they get to 70 and everything they've ever worked for that they think is going to potentially come to you, they think that is going to come to you, it's not. What will happen is if they need to go into care of some form, that'll get sold and all that money will be put aside for funding for the care until it's gone.
And what happens if they take the midnight train out of Georgia before all the money goes? Do you get a refund? Do you get a bit of money back?
No.
Here's a rebate.
No. No.
Nah, just goes.
Just goes.
And there's inheritance.
So there's some
tax as well.
there's some that you'll be able to
which
keep.
is-
There's something you'll be able to keep, depending on like what they've got, I guess. But do you know how much care is?
No.
So you're looking at about
It's extortion.
800 minimum pounds, £800 a week.
A week?
A week.
Oh, then stop with me. Stop with me and Milo in the one bedroom flat.
Yeah, £800 a week or so.
Dear me.
If they needed to go into care, yeah.
I mean, my mum worked in a care home for a period of time as well. It's bloody hard work.
It's
It's
crap.
hard work.
Bloody hard work.
Really hard work.
You're looking after
Really hard.
adult
It's backbreaking.
people who need almost, some of them, the needs of a child, and that is, and you've got to do that and maintain their dignity. So that is a really difficult thing.
You've got to be a special type of person, haven't you?
I would
think,
never
to be
begrudge that for care workers. If I thought they were getting decent money in some of the NHS ones.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas this £800 a week for everybody going, because I know where it's going.
Yeah.
Boris. Sorry, this is so political. I don't mean it to be. Well, I don't.
We're talking about managing money. It does get political, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does, yeah, especially in the current climate.
Yeah,
So it's interesting,
I
isn't it?
would take some advice about what to do with the house and that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get hauled in somewhere. Was that illegal, what I just said to do?
No.
It's all right then.
They're coming for you. Not like neither
can
side.
give-
Giving out illegal. That's not illegal. Do it then. Get your mum and dad's house in your name
Imagine that.
ASAP.
Right, Lisa.
Because it doesn't matter to them, does it? Whose house the name's in?
I went to just paid off the mortgage.
You say that it doesn't matter, but if
Then your credit rating will go down.
well, then supposing Hannah's mum and dad give her their house, and then Hannah gets married, and then in 5 years or 10 years' time, Hannah gets divorced. Then her husband's going to take
twat that
half
house.
of the mum and dad's house.
It's better than the government taking 100% of it.
Prenup.
Prenup.
Do a Kanye.
So
Do
yeah,
they even work
prenups.
now?
I don't know.
They're not really enforceable, I don't think, unless you're like Kim Kardashian or something.
Yeah.
And even then, don't know. Anyway, we could talk about this for a long time, I think.
we could, yeah.
There's so many different things. So can we just give some money-saving tips?
Monzo.
Monzo. Talk about Monzo.
So I've got a referral code if anybody.
Oh my God, imagine
I
putting
love
that out.
it.
Let's not put that out on the podcast.
It's going in the description box, guys, because you get a $5 and I get a $5. And I need to buy some makeup. No, I'm joking. So Monzo, actually, I started it at the beginning of this year, maybe a couple of months ago. And it's the first time over the last couple of months that I have had money at the end of the month, a substantial amount of money where I've gone, oh, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm doing canny.
Yeah.
Because what you do is with Monzo, it's not a bank per se. It's like a bit like a wallet. It's a bit like Apple Pay, but probably a little bit more like a bank, I guess. And I've got just loads of pots. So you can just create loads of pots. So I've got a bills one, I've got a food one, a petrol one, and then I've got like cool stuff like tattoos and beer.
Yeah.
Things
And you
like
just
that.
transfer everything over.
So I get my wage that comes into like the current account in the Monzo, and then I just put them all in the pots. And the best thing is you can have like virtual cards. So I've got a virtual card for my petrol. So anytime I pay for my petrol,
mint.
I'll just
It's dead good.
I'll
mint.
pay it off my Apple Pay, and it'll come straight out of that pot. So I don't even have to. Once that's allocated, and I know, because I roughly know how much petrol I'll spend a month. Once that's fine, that just ticks along nicely. Same with food, same with whatever
It's a budgeting tool, isn't
But
it?
it's brilliant, and it also has loads of analytics on it.
Yeah, you can see little graphs and stuff
Yeah.
on. It'll tell you how much you've spent on like leisure, how much you've spent on food, how much, like in a little graph.
and it like sends you notifications where it's like you're spending X percentage more this month than you were last month. Like, what's going on? You're like,
I might swap.
You're like, well, Sunderland got promoted, so I spent a lot more on beer this month. But I think if anyone struggles with budgeting, because I really do struggle with it, because I'm very much of the laissez-faire sort of,
Like,
if
live
it's there,
life.
spend it sort of thing, because I don't have
And
responsibilities.
fair enough. Do you know what? That's fair enough.
Yeah.
If that's what you like to do, and it's not getting you into trouble, then do it.
Until I'm the grasshopper who sang all summer. Got any flipping dollar. But like, yeah, I would 100% recommend it, because it's really helped a lot for me.
Yeah,
Big time.
amazing. I've got like some things just written down here, like track your spending. So again, and create budgets or budget management tools. So things like Monzo is good.
Yeah.
If you like a spreadsheet, do a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
One of the things the girls talk about in here is Martin Lewis.
Martin Lewis.
Martin Lewis is a guy who's like a money saving expert.
Modern day hero, that guy.
Yeah. And do you know what? He's got some really good tips.
Oh, he's got great ones.
Some really good tips on like holidays and things, like just mad stuff. If you're booking on booking.com, I never thought about this, but I read this yesterday. Book it 2 days before you go, check the price. If the price has gone down considerably, rebook it, and then most of them have a free cancellation.
So then you get your money back.
Just cancel, get your money back, and then you've saved like 200 quid.
Wow.
Huh? Good, that, isn't it?
That is good. And there's
So-
no detriment to, I mean, there's a detriment to the hotel though, because
Just the hotel, but because they're wanting to sell rooms last minute, that's what do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if that's, I mean, we're skimming people out of the industry there.
I know, I was like, but in fairness, they're not going to sell
But
a
we're talking
room
about money. We're
for
talking about
less.
managing your money and having good tips on that. Anyway, if you want more tips like that, Martin Lewis, money saving expert, gives you loads of stuff like that. And yeah, I would just say, be aware of which one you are and what you're trying to achieve. So if you are I like to live life on the edge and spend me money, then do it. And don't be apologetic about it. Do it. It's your life.
Yeah.
And if you want to be the saver, save. If you want to be an investor, invest in stuff. Do whatever you want to do. Just be aware of which category you're in. Think about it and self-reflect on that and go, right, which one am I truly Because we can pretend, I think, sometimes. I know loads of people that'll say, oh, I'm great with money, me. And you're thinking, no, you're not. Yeah, I just think reflect on it and then be aware of which one you are.
There's consequences for all of them.
Yeah, there is.
essentially.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Like,
Yeah, there is.
just pick which
Absolutely,
ones you think I'll probably be able to deal with that the best.
Yeah. What's not going to stress you out? What's going to give you a bit of peace of mind?
Yeah.
Any more tips?
Well, I would say know what your direct debits are, every one of them. And these Visa card payments that you buy something and then you forget to cancel it and it comes out for months and months. Know what they all are.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to switch to another supplier if it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because you can just...
We do that every year.
Yeah.
You can just leave it and then... And check your phone contract as well, because that sometimes, even when it ends, they still charge you for essentially a phone that you've already paid for, unless you go on to, you know, you can get
just look at your bank, look at your statements, look through
have
it,
a look,
and have a good look
know
through.
Know what you're paying for.
If you think about this, how many hours do we spend scrolling on our phone?
Yeah,
just do a 10-minute scroll on your bank. 10 minutes of looking through and seeing what you can do better, and do that every month.
Yeah,
and then there'll be some things in there that you think, I'm not going to do that again, or can't believe I spent that much in a supermarket. I'm going to go to another supermarket instead. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you for joining us. I think we could go on and on about this, but if anyone's got any comments to make, please comment in the comment box. Terrible at this bit, you know.
Where you'll find my Monzo referral code.
Yeah. I might borrow that. And yeah, just
be responsible. Like, just be a responsible adult and make sure you've got all the basic shit down.
Yeah.
Your needs and, you know, food, water, heat, all the stuff that makes you.
If you're struggling, Step Change is a great charity.
Yeah, it is a very good charity.
So yeah, thank you both for joining. I hope that this has been relatable to some of you guys out there and that you've learned something or got some nice tips from us. We will see you guys next week on just another group chat.